1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm your host, Angela Duncan, and today I have the distinct honor of interviewing co-founder and CEO of Renegade Insurance. Rashik, thank you so much for your time today. I'm super excited for the interview, and welcome to our first episode on the new podcast.
Thank you, Angela. I'm grateful for this opportunity and look forward to having this discussion with you.
Good. So why don't we first start with your background and kind of tell us about your story and then how the Renegade Insurance idea came to fruition.
Right. So my background is I came to the U.S. first time on the plane, actually, at the age of 19 to go to college.
19.
And I was incredibly lucky to have had the opportunity, to go to great school, great friends. And that led me to my first job on Wall Street. So I started my career as a mergers and acquisitions analyst at Citi.
Okay.
After that, I joined Soros Fund Management as an investment professional, where that's they say people don't choose insurance; they fall into insurance, and that's what happened to me. That I got introduced to the entire ecosystem of the insurance industry, and so I spent a lot of time looking at both the balance sheet side of insurance, which is carriers, reinsurance companies, MGUs, as well as the distribution side of the business. And I would argue that the distribution is obviously far more difficult piece, but it also has a lot of value if done and conceived well. So I did that for many years. Then I left Soros to go to get my MBA at Harvard. And Renegade actually was born as my summer project.
Oh, really?
I don't want to emphasize the grandiosity and the way we thought about it.
Yeah.
But it did begin as, that summer I was thinking about going back into sort of what I was doing previously. So I was like, I know this space enough and I've seen enough problems. Let me try to think about what we can do to reimagine distribution with agents and agency entrepreneurs front and center, aided by technology, and that was kind of the thesis, and we continue to build on it today. So
that's awesome. So you talked about what kind of inspired you. What does it mean to you personally to have Renegade Insurance? Why is it different than some of the other agencies that we have?
That's a great question. And we're talking about this right before it. What inspires me about what we do every day is our mission. And our mission is to empower agents and insurance entrepreneurs to be able to build lasting, growing agencies that are future-proof, that can actually build generational wealth for them at the same time that they are taking care of the customers with the best of technology, experience, and care, as well as our carrier partners, because you need that entire ecosystem to work in harmony. And that is our mission. And every day I get inspired by the fact that we can play our part in really enabling our agency partners and our franchisees to be able to achieve their mission of building a thriving, lasting agency that actually can generate transgenerational wealth.
Yeah.
And while doing that, we're working with homeowners, we're working with business owners, we're providing a really critical service and support to our communities and to our economy. And so that inspires me, and that inspires the entire Renegade team.
Yeah, and I can attest to that too. So I've been able to experience it. I'm newer to the family, but the last few months I definitely can feel that. So I agree with you 100%. Now, Renegades, there's a couple of, franchises that you can purchase when it comes to insurance. What kind of makes Renegade a little bit different than some of the other brands that are out there?
That's a great question. We are really we're not necessarily governed by, hey, how can we be different? We're governed by our mission, which is how do we make sure that those that we partner with, those that actually choose to work with Renegade, invest capital, time, and resources with us, are differentiately successful than others. And that's the way we think about this. And I think the first thing that we provide in a differentiated way to our franchise partners is power. We give them technology, we give them carriers, we give them support system, we give them the product itself is designed such that we are only successful if and when our franchise partners are exceedingly successful. The second thing is, and I think this gets lost, that starting something is exciting until it's not. That a lot of people underestimate the grind, both operational as well as the financial grind. And how does that manifest? That manifests, we're looking at this data that over 80% of the scratch agents, independent as well as captive, they fail within the first 18 months. Over 90% of them close their doors in 5 years. These are incredible entrepreneurial dreams, years of their lives, investments, capital, aspirations that never made it home. And the one thing we realized is that, and we learned this from our own experiences, we need to figure out a way to get agents to scale quicker.
Yeah.
So that the business, P&C business, unlike, let's say, real estate in other industries, it doesn't generate a ton of cash per day one.
Yes.
But you build a stream of annuity that continues to have value over time. And getting to that point from, point zero is really, really tough. So what we do is we bring to the table solutions, processes, and the Renegade method that allows our franchisee partners to get there, to short circuit that painful process, so that large percentage of our franchisee partners are 3, 4, 5 years down the road are far more successful. They're able to get to the desired scale where they can not only pay for the operating cost, they have a thriving agency that creates lasting value for them and their families. And that's the Renegade difference. We do that through several different things. But I think
that's we should definitely touch on. I think one of the main things that attracted me to Renegade is the book buying opportunities. So when you talked about how difficult it is as an agency owner, especially that first year, because there's not a lot of money in the beginning, talk about what that's part of Renegade, how you guys offer that to potential agency owners.
Right. And by the way, that's basic science. Charlie Munger, one of my heroes, is famous for saying the hardest money to make is from, let's say, the first $100,000.
Yeah.
Why? Because getting there is extremely difficult, and once you get to 100,000, the law of compounding works in such a way that getting to 100,000, getting from 100,000 to $1 million is significantly easier than getting from 0 to 100,000. And the insurance premium book of business works with the exact same math, that you need a large enough base so that you can start compounding on it. And so, what we bring to the table is that we're not looking to sign hundreds of franchisees. We're not looking to say, hey guys, give us this, the franchise fees and the rest is your burden. What we are saying is we want to work with the select few franchisee partners that have, one, the desire and the passion to do this. Second, have the entrepreneurial mindset. And third, quite frankly, the capital and the risk appetite necessary, and the grit, the organization in their mind, in their presentation, the way they think about the future. We're looking for those select franchisees that we can really bet on and put all of our resources for them to get to scale dramatically faster, in some cases from day one.
Right.
And that's what makes us different. That's what's unique about us. And we're quite proud of that, right? And in this business, I realize that the strength is not necessarily in the quantity as much as it is in the quality. I would love to have our franchise partners each have $2, $3, $4 million commission revenue streams, as opposed to have hundreds of franchise partners that are struggling to barely make it financially. And so that's the path we've chosen. And we're continuing to innovate on this, and we aid all of this with some of the other stuff that you probably get in most other places, right? Support, technology, and we continue to invest more dramatically in technology. I think that's a conversation we should have. But that's what makes us different, and we're doing that because we realize that for us to do this the right way,
right,
which is to make our franchisees successful, we have to take these bets, and we have to concentrate on quality and few franchise partners that we can work with, as opposed to bring a lot of them and leave them on their own to go and figure it out.
Yeah, and I do like how Renegade, when I applied, to be a franchise owner, I did go through a pretty extensive interview process. So I like that because, as you said, you don't want to have everybody. We're looking for like the top agents that fit within what you feel the Renegade brand looks like. One of the things that really attracted me to Renegade was that you have a mergers and acquisitions team. Can you talk about why you decided to offer that and how you feel like that helps us to be more successful?
Yeah, so uh, as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to get our franchise partners to get to scale as quickly as possible. So we are therefore prepared to use all means, and this happens to be one of those. And I come from that background, and it's in our DNA to try to really go to the core of what we do, which is to make our franchisee partners successful. And for that, we built a lot of the resources, and it's one of the many strategies we use with our franchisee partners to get to scale and have you know when you cannot make your operating expenses, it's very difficult to talk about the future, right? When there's very little to take home after a month hard work. But, the passion can only take you that far. So we put a lot of resources and our balance sheet and a bunch of other means that are necessary to help our franchisees get there, and we're proud of that. And so we built an incredible team that is driven by this mission. They're extremely technical. They work with our franchisee partners to really figure out how is it that they can and should grow, and this is one of the solutions we provide.
Yeah. And also talk about the support team. I came from a different franchise previously, and while they offered support, Renegade to me is much different. I have someone who can help me reshop, and I have a dedicated person to help me with like customer service, which I feel is a huge advantage. But then you also offer higher commission splits. So talk about kind of how you guys decided that you would have that customer focus model and help the agency owners from that perspective.
Right. So I mean, I think the first is I think our mission is clear, and so it makes our choices easier. The second is that this is from day one. I am uh, absolutely clear-minded that if we're doing this, we have to look at the long run, and the support system we have put in place is to really enable our our franchise partners to be able to bring the best of what they can do, and we bring the best of what we can do, right? So there are several different programs. We do quote assist. We have the referral programs where you have an opportunity, but you're not able to quote. We help you partner with the expertise, and we actually helps you do that. Quote assist is designed to give you an opportunity to learn about how to write a newer kind of risk that you may not be familiar with. And we put dedicated support both in terms of managing your book, but also in terms of keeping you accountable. And what that does is it allows our franchise partners, to listen, at the end of the day, growth does require accountability,
Right.
right? And we're clear about that. But growth also needs infrastructure. Right. As a franchise owner, you cannot at the same time be a producer, a business owner, a marketer, someone who knows every single market. I mean, these are very different hats to wear, especially when you're starting out. So what we do is we want to identify what your strength is and build a system and infrastructure around you so that the chances of you bringing your entrepreneurial self, that learner mindset into the Renegade system, and then letting the system work. If that works, and if you are committed to doing that, we want to be confident, and we want you to be confident that you'll be successful. And that's why we invest in it. And let's imagine this scenario where you're one in, 10 agents are successful 5 years out, right? If we provide this, we dramatically increase the probability of the agents being successful 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And if and when they are successful is only when Renegade becomes successful. So for us, there's a very clear alignment of incentives, alignment of goals, and we understand why we are doing it. And we're glad that you've taken advantage of it.
Yeah. So another, I think, very unique and amazing opportunity that Renegade offers their agency owners is the ability to have stock options, which I think from a franchise perspective, especially in the insurance industry, is unheard of. So can you talk a little bit more about why you decided that and what that looks like for agency owners?
Yeah. So I think if we think about it from the first principles, we want we want our franchisees to be as aligned with Renegade as possible, and giving our franchise partners the opportunity to earn a stock at the mothership is one of the ways we do that. And it is our way of saying, listen, we're committed to the cause, and the cause is to make you successful. And if you're successful, Renegade will be successful. And Renegade's success depends on the collective success of all of our franchises. And I feel like that was one of the ways we could talk it cheap. We're putting your real incentives there, and a lot of our franchise partners see value in it, and we're glad that they do. And so we're going to continue to enhance and align it. As we think about what it incentivizes, how our franchise partners value it, and etc. And we're learning a lot about how they think about it as well.
Yeah.
And so that's been a very exciting. The initial reaction has been amazing, and I think we're going to continue to double down on it.
Yeah. So Renegade is definitely insurtech, right? They're a technology-based insurance platform, which I find amazing as well. Where do you see kind of the future of insurance and how technology is going to affect and impact the insurance industry?
So obviously this is 2025, and things were quite different in 2018 when we
Right.
initially got started. But the narrative when we were first starting was that the opposite of technology is an agent. That was the narrative. Like if you talked about technology, the prevailing wisdom is that it has to be net negative,
Right.
for agents. And what that perspective did was it fundamentally misunderstood how insurance actually gets transacted, what customer values and is looking for when they're purchasing insurance. But it also fundamentally misunderstood the role of technology. And the way we think about tech today, and increasingly as we look into the future, is that it is playing an incredible enabler for both customers as well as agents. And so I've been saying that the opposite of technology is not an agent; it's an agent without technology. And so what we do is we're taking aggressive bets and investing and continue to provide tools, platforms. We want to be at the cutting edge in terms of experimenting with what's out there to bring capabilities that bring the best of what the customer and carriers value in an agent, right? And that's advisory, that's risk management, that's being able to, no one, like the value of an agent, if we're just saying, hey, I'm going to take your information and that doesn't really add value.
Right.
And so there are a lot of things, particularly around admin, particularly around these low value customer interactions that can be automated, and we are aggressively automating them. Even in the agency process, particularly interaction with carriers, those can also be dramatically simplified and automated in many ways by technology. And obviously there are more and more carriers using big data, and we are using a lot of big data. So we pre-underwrite this risk, and we make sure that they go to the right carriers with the appropriate information. So I am extremely sanguine and positive about the role of technology and what it can do for the benefit of both the agents and the customers. Now, the fact remains that some of the more commoditized insurance products, they are probably better mediated by technology anyways.
Yeah.
Renters insurance, some of these point of sale type of products, I don't think an agent really is adding ton of value. But there continues to be a lot of value that agents bring to the table. And the way we invest is how can we give our agents superpowers with technology? And that's the way we invest. And I think with that thesis, we are extremely excited. Now agents should be able to manage, in terms of servicing, they should be able to service larger book of business. They should be able to take care of more clients. They should be able to understand and support, a lot more in terms of both, book of business, but also the purview of the risk, industries, etc. And then the other thing that's quite exciting is learning about new stuff is also becoming easier and easier with technology. And we aid some of these areas that were extremely manual, but represented, where the only way you could learn is through years and years of making mistakes. Like we are able to aid a lot of that learning through technology. So you're therefore, the learning curve and being an amazing risk advisor is significantly shortened now. Right? It's a
Fast forward.
right. And so that's kind of the mindset that we want you to be an agent truly enabled by technology and embrace it as opposed to fight it.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that as an agency owner. The way that Renegade pairs, weekly Zoom calls so that we still have some human interaction, right? We can learn some people are better at learning that way. But then there's a whole library of videos, especially like on the commercial side, that
Right.
I can go and watch at my pace.
Right.
Renegade brings different insurance carriers to the meetings so that we can learn more about what their products are, what their appetite is. That's really the basis for this podcast as well. So I like that. As Renegade grows, where do you see your role changing, and what are you excited about how like the future looks for you as well?
So, in terms of so one thing that continues to excite me is that, one, I see technology making a significant impact in how, our franchise partners are managing the book of business. So there are a lot of processes that we continue to automate, and it's going to, make a significant impact on your bottom line. That commission revenue, larger and larger percent of that should go into your bottom line. The second thing is that we can leverage a ton of technology that we have in significantly enhancing the relationship that agents have with their customers, right? So that they get to focus on the highest value interactions, but at the same time, the customers do get what they need, whatever they may be. That remains a core focus because I think technology is really changing the industry for me. The second thing is obviously we're looking to scale, and and we continue to evolve in our own identity, in the sense that we have now decided that we're going to work with fewer and fewer franchisees, but we want to find and select the best so we can really help them get to scale and make them wildly successful. I mean, that is a core focus. And when I think about 2026, 27, 2028, we want to be even more selective, so that, the efforts and the resources we have, we can concentrate those on the partners that we have decided actively to work with. And then the third thing is, I do think that, we are right now in select states and we're opening more states. And I think there's, we can make significant difference in, the agents and insurance entrepreneurs that need a platform like this. And that remains the third key focus. Obviously, when I started, for our time being until Doug and the rest of the team joined me, I was the solopreneur. I mean, you had to do literally.
Yes.
You had to do everything.
Yeah.
And so now, we have an incredible team that understand the mission. They are extremely capable. So, more and more, I get to be more strategic, and that's I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah.
So that's it's an evolution of our overall platform. And Andrew, I must mention that one of the things that I'm committed to do more and more going forward is spend even more time with our franchise partners to deeply understand, how well we or lack thereof we've been able to, service them and take care of them and think about how they see the next 5 years, so that we can be that enabling force. And in the midst of all this, that's one area where I haven't spent enough time, and I plan to do that going forward.
Yeah, and as an agency owner, I do feel like that's really important as you grow, to be able, in any type of franchise, to be able to talk to the team that kind of helps us, in the next direction. You talk about technology adding to the team, and one of the things I love about Renegade too is we are not just focused here in the U.S. Part of your team is outside of the U.S., and I'm a true believer that you find talent where you find talent. It doesn't matter which country they live in, right? So I commend you for having that team outside of the US, because I think they can see things that we don't necessarily see, especially in the technology space, that it helps us as insurance agency owners advance as well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the team as well.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the other questions that they wanted to. We did talk a little bit about the mergers and acquisition. I want to go back to that a little bit because, that was, like I said, one of the things that really attracted me is the ability to utilize the team to help us grow our business. So explain a little bit more about how that works, especially in the age that we're in right now. A lot of people perhaps are retiring. Why is that a unique opportunity for insurance agency owners?
I think that's an excellent question, and you have essentially two big uh, you know secular things that are happening. One is a lot of the baby boomers, folks that have gone into this the distribution business, the agency business, are retiring, and they need a robust succession planning as well as exit solution. So, that there is that, and I think the number of folks that are getting to that retirement age where they need a succession planning solution is increasing. And on the other side, we want to be able to prepare and find the right franchisees that we can work with to be able to do that. And in between, you obviously have a lot of the diligence, transaction, financing. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that needs to happen there to ensure that what we're looking at makes sense, aligns with our broader thesis, but it also aligns with the goal of our franchisee partners. And yeah, so that's where we spend a lot of our time continuing to think about it, continue to refine it, so that we can, really short circuit the ability for our new franchisees to get to scale, and for our existing franchisees to continue to challenge themselves to grow and get bigger. And so, it remains a core focus of ours. And yeah, I'm proud to say that we are way better now than we were before. And I think that goes to the strength of our team and a lot of the support we've received from quite frankly, our partners like yourself. And we're really proud of that. And so we are really prepared for 2026, and I think it's going to be an even more exciting year for us and all of our prospective as well as existing franchise partners.
Yeah, as an agency owner, I don't think I would have attempted like merger and acquisition of an outside company without the team support, because there's so much detail and due diligence that needs to be done.
Right.
That if you haven't done it before and you don't have a team that's experienced at it, you're going to get lost in the weeds and most likely not have a successful merger. So it's important for the client to have that team behind us. If you had someone who is thinking about getting into their own agency, purchasing a franchise, what advice would you give to them? What should they be looking for when they're looking at different companies?
So listen, I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I started as a solopreneur. I'm not gonna say don't start on your own, but one needs to be mindful of the risk that they are taking. As I mentioned, it's extremely brutal and excruciating. You have to wear a ton of hats, and particularly in the PNC business, let's think about some of the constraints. Carriers don't reward potential; they reward performance. So you need real track record. You have to prove that you can do it, and that takes time, which is very difficult to be. And so if you don't have the right carriers in the right markets, your ability to win business becomes challenging. And so it starts that kind of a vicious cycle. Uh, the infrastructure takes a lot of time and effort to really set up, and you have to be able to take care of all those things from the get-go. And the next thing is that the path to get to a scale which is needed to be able to pay for your operating cost, that path just takes time. and you need a lot of capital, dry powder, to be able to invest and spend until you get to break even. So these things are not trivial. So if you're thinking about going out and doing this, be mindful of that, because an entrepreneur who really fails and goes and does something else, we've lost it as a society, and the entrepreneur probably lost the fire they had in them. So the system, the way it is kind of stacked against them. And so so that's for the solopreneur. With regards to people that are considering different options, one of the first questions you should ask is, what are my chances of success with this particular platform? And I think it starts with the mission. Also starts with tactics. It starts with references. It starts with deeply understanding what is different about them. And so I'm sure the anyone that is actually considering going this route, I want them to look at those options, because ultimately you want to pick one where the platform wins, the franchisor wins, if and when you win. They don't win the day you sign with them. I mean, that's what's critical. And I want to say that, at least in case of Renegade, we are motivated by making sure that year 5, year 10, that you're widely successful, and your exceeding success is basically part of our mission. And that's the way we think about it, and that's the way we've designed our program. So if they come and the first thing they do is push you to sign the FTD, that's probably a red flag. But if they really vet you, try to understand your business plan, understand where you're coming from, what experience you've had, how you plan to do this, whether you understand what it takes to be successful, then I think it's worth a second look.
Right. They should be interviewing you first.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agree with that.
Absolutely.
Well, Rashik, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you very much for your time today. And of course, thank you for starting Renegade.
Oh, and thank you. I wanted to just take a second to, really, appreciate the trust and the confidence you've shown in Renegade. And I also want to just iterate that our mission is to make sure that you are successful here. And we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. I want to make sure that our eyes and ears are open for feedback and ways that we can do things better. It is a collective journey, and I appreciate you giving your trust and your confidence in us. And I promise to on behalf of the entire Renegade team, to work to make sure that the aspirations with which you joined, that we'll do everything we can to make that come true.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
And if you're interested in joining Renegade as a franchise owner, want to learn more information or join the Renegade team, go to renegadeinsurance.com today and we'll reach out to you in contact. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.